Well, how about church? At church, we say everyone is welcome. At church, we say love is the spirit. At church, we say everybody can fit around this table. But what if you don't get that recognition? What if someone doesn't choose you to be on a committee, or they don't elect you the chair, or they don't say hello to you in a way that you would like to be acknowledged? Well, do you then say, you know, I'm going to take my money elsewhere. I don't want to be a part of this. They're not recognizing me. Do you say that? No, you don't say that, because that's what Dorothy Day is trying to tell us over here. Dorothy Day is trying to say you don't have the right to feel hopeless. You don't have the right, because this is the point, church. You've been given opportunities. Now, the opportunities are what you have going on in your head. When you have that thought, what if? I love those what ifs. What if? Is it possible? When you have that kind of thought, that kind of belief, that kind of wish, longing, then you have to act on it and move on it. And in acting and moving, we begin to build the connections. But you can't sit down and wait for somebody to say, oh, I'm sure glad you're here. It would be nice. It would be nice. But the I'm so glad you're here can be given when you're working side by side in that results group, telephoning a congressman or writing a letter saying that we need to have more microcredit banks. And then someone says, I'm so thankful that you were here today to do that. That kind of longing can be found at the church. But I'm saying to you that that's your existential search. You hear what I'm saying, church? That is your individual search. I cannot tell you, and no one should tell you how you should feel appreciated by doing such and such a thing. You have opportunities, and it's your choice to move in those venues and make things happen. But it is not up to someone to prescribe your life for you. That's the beauty of being a Unitarian. To be a Unitarian Universalist is to be hopeful by nature. Because you say there's too much out here for me to get sad about. I need to get moving. So that's what I'm saying to you this morning. The emotional intelligence. The emotional intelligence is not going to be given to you like we get formal education. But emotional intelligence will come from your desire. It will come from you saying, I want it. I want to be able to touch my neighbor. I want to be able to be a part of this thing that we call a new way. I want to build it. I want to be in there. And church, it can be done. It can be done. It is simply us saying, yes, we can. And you know, don't get me preaching up here. Because I have something else to say before I start there. The thing that I want to talk about some more about this has to do with, like I said, where we come from. And I came from a little town called Sepulpa. And I grew up in a little Baptist church. And that little Baptist church was pastored by my grandfather, who died many years before I was born. But every time I passed that church, I knew that my grandfather had pastored that church, and his name was on the cornerstone, Reverend P.T. Davis. And that was me. I was part of that church. So being part of that church from the day one gave me a sense of belonging, church, that I'm supposed to be there, right? From that was the education that I received, the emotional education I received that was given plentifully, because every teacher there would love you so much. They were so glad to see you, but especially there was this teacher named Miss Reddick. Miss Reddick was a wonderful teacher. We would stand there as little kids waiting for her to come to Sunday school. And we could see her coming across the school ground because she lived adjacent to the school, just across the street from the church. And we could see her coming, and some of us would run to be with her. She always had a warm smile to all these little kids who wanted to be in her class. And when we were in her class, she gave us little Bible verses that we would memorize because she wanted us to learn. So we would read the Bible verses and memorize them. We learned the lessons. And when we did well, she would smile and say, "That is great. That is good." And even when we didn't do well, she never said anything negative. She would say, "Well, let's try again. You almost got it." Something like that. Miss Reddick always had a smile, and she had no discipline problems. I don't know why, because we were little boys and little girls who couldn't sit still. But she was always there to encourage us to be the best we could be. Well, church, that kind of upbringing is where I came from. So being a part of the church, to me, says that I'm giving back what Miss Reddick taught me, that I want to be appreciative. I want to give people the things that she gave me when she knew that this is a little child who doesn't know what I know, doesn't know that they're going to encounter the hard times, doesn't know that there will be tough times, doesn't know that all these things that break us down and keep us lonely and alone are going to happen. But she knew that if I give this child something that's called hope, if I give this child the encouragement that will get this child always thinking about it's not over yet, that something good will happen. So that's what I'm doing, church, when I live my life and when I go to DHS and when I talk to the people and I talk to those who have and those who have not. I am still dealing with my neighbor. I'm not dealing with one better than. I'm dealing with the same person because every person will walk a tough road sometime. It is important for us then, church, as we sit comfortably to understand that this is not what church is all about. This is the filling station. You got to get filled up so that you go out and live the life. You can't just say, I've been to church and that's it. You got to be a part of something bigger than who you are. And it's not hard to find it when you have the Miss Reddicks in your life who are encouraging you to move on past what you think is there, to move on to something that's called glory. Look out. Huh? I don't want to come all full Baptist with you now. But I told you I came from somewhere.